Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience and those tuning in online worldwide. We're glad you all could join us as well. We're really excited to welcome Anwar Jamison to our program today. He's an individual who's definitely been able to share his creativity with the world in a variety of ways, not only, of course, as a recording artist, but also as a writer, producer, and director of now an award-winning film called Coming to Africa. We'll talk to Anwar not only about his love of creating, but also what it's been like for him to literally share that with the world. We'll talk to him about this particular film, how it came about, as well as the response to it, and let you all know how to stay connected with updates as well. Anwar, thank you so much for the time today, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cyrus, for having me on.
Hey, glad to do it. So as I said, we're going to talk about Coming to Africa. I want to begin, though, with talking about this creative experience for you, because there are a lot of ways that people have gotten to know you over the years, Anwar. What has it been like for you to be a creative and be able to share your gifts with the world?
It's been an amazing experience. I just always go back to when I first realized I had a gift to write at a very early age, and I just always knew that I would use my love of writing and my ability to do that to help to change the world if I could. I had those aspirations even when I was very young, so everything I've done has been connected to that. So I just feel fortunate that I've been able to walk in my purpose and to get results doing it.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing is that, you know, it's so funny. I grew up in the South, Anwar, and one of the things I was told, and I think a lot of people in my generation were told by our parents and grandparents was, you know, you have to focus on one thing. You focus on one thing and you try to master that one thing. Of course, we're living in a world today where actually when you do that, you find yourself limiting yourself. Do you think that's also part of the freedom you've been able to feel to not be tied to one thing and basically be able to use your creativity however you see fit?
Yeah, the technology has made that a reality because now you can sit at a computer in your home and record and edit. And I can edit my own movies and I can do things that wouldn't have been possible before. So that's just, that's an amazing thing that we're able to do that and kind of bring everything under one umbrella and still be working towards the same goals that you have. So like you said, our parents' generation, previously they didn't have that, and they might have been a great singer or a great actress, but if they didn't get that one break in Hollywood or New York, it just wasn't going to happen for them. So, yes, we're very fortunate in the day and age that we're living in that we can take advantage of that.
And I think, too, when people look at your particular story, Anwar, I think storytelling is kind of the common thread for you, right? As I mentioned, whether we're talking about through music and now, of course, through filmmaking, have you always had that belief in yourself that if you wanted to do something, that you could do it?
That has been my greatest asset. One of my earliest memories in life, I always joke and tell people, but it's a real thing, is my mother came to school. I started school when I was kindergarten. I started when I was 2 years old in kindergarten and at a private school, and they didn't care about your age as long as you could do the work. And I was working at a really advanced level at 2 years old, and my mom came to pick me up. Well, not actually pick me up, but they called her to the school, and told her she needed to come up there. And she thought maybe I was in trouble or, I was going to be crying to come home. And I was sitting in the office, and I refused to go outside for recess. And they were trying to explain to me, you have to go outside for recess. You can't just stay in here the whole time. They have to eat lunch, and the teachers need a break. And that's just been my mentality my whole life. I just wanted to learn. I just wanted to take the next step forward. I just wanted to progress. So I've always had that sparked the belief in me that I could always do anything that I put my mind to, because from a very early age, I was used to doing that and being successful at it. And that's mainly because I stuck to the things that I saw that I had a talent for. So I never really had a desire to go outside of, what I had those obvious gifts for. And that served me well. I knew I wasn't going to do anything in a science-related field. I knew I wasn't going to do anything in a math-related field. I did okay in those things in school when I had to, but it was a struggle for me. I had to really work at it. But reading, writing, I was always gifted. I was always singled out by the teachers. Hey, your essay, can I share your essay with the class? Can I use yours as the example? So from a very early age, that fostered that belief in me that, hey, this is something special. Use this and don't disappoint yourself and your family and everyone who knows that you have these gifts.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think, too, the other thing is, and it's a great segue, Anwar, to coming to Africa, is that your gifts have not only made room for you, the scriptures tell us that will happen, but also you've been able to open up doors for others. What has that part of the experience been like for you? Because this is not your first time filmmaking when it comes to film like this, but, what has it been like for you from project to project to be able to bring other people along the journey with you?
That's the best part of it for me. When I was focusing on music, it wasn't quite the same. With music, when other people either didn't have the same idea or I couldn't get people maybe to cooperate or whatever the case, you literally can do music by yourself. So I could go into my home studio, produce something, rap on it, mix it down myself, get it out. So you have that opportunity. With film, you can't do that even if you want to, and I never wanted to do that. I always had a vision of this team around me and all of us being successful in bringing this vision to the world. So that's what I really love about film, that I'm able to do that. So in this case, to be able to have a primarily Ghanaian crew, most of the movie was shot in Ghana, some of it was shot back in Memphis, but the whole camaraderie we had on the set to go over here to Ghana and realize the similarities that we have in our cultures and the things that we have as people, as African people on the continent and the diaspora, and be able to bring that together and to look around and realize I'm providing jobs right now. I might only be providing them for a few weeks, but I've paid everybody here to be able to look around and say, hey, they're going home, they're eating, they're paying bills because of this opportunity that I was able to bring. I love that, and we just had so much fun on the set. And when I got back to Memphis, it was the same thing. People who came on the set were just really impressed about how the set was running and saying, wow, on this set I would expect this to be, more something I would see in Hollywood or something somewhere else, just the professionalism that we brought and the way the team and the crew really performed. So that's the most enjoyable part to me. There's a slight bit of sadness when you say that's a wrap at the end, and you're not coming back tomorrow, because you really build that rapport over time.
Did you feel like you had something special with this one, Anwar? As I mentioned, it's already an award-winning film. Did Coming to Africa feel like something different for you?
It most definitely felt different from the beginning. Just in the conception of the idea, I knew the idea was special. So then I needed to live up to the responsibility of bringing this to the public. So just before I even sat down at the keyboard and physically typed the script, often in my writing process, I tell people I walk around and I write in my head for so long that by the time I sit down to write it, it just spills out. So I can almost imagine the whole movie in my head. I may walk around for 2-3 months just pre-writing the script in my head. So even in those early stages, I knew it was special because no one had ever done anything like this before. And just the visuals that I had of Ghana, Accra, Ghana specifically, a metropolitan city on the African continent, I knew if I could put those images in front of people, those images alone would make it special, just because in America we're not used to seeing that. We're getting used to seeing it more now because there are more African filmmakers with a platform to tell their own stories. But prior to that, we never had that. So I knew it was special just off the fact that you were going to take African-American guys, drop them on the continent of Africa, have this adventure, and have this consciousness, have this awakening. That alone I knew was special with the story. So I really just felt like, don't fumble the football. Don't drop the ball. If you just get to the end based on the idea you have, if you execute, you're going to have something special. So I'm just pleased that we were able to do that.
definitely come through. We're going to get into more of the themes of this. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, though, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. Anwar Jamison is our guest for this segment. We're talking to Anwar not only about his own journey as a creative. People know him for because of different hats that he wears as a recording artist, writer, producer, and director, and also one of the stars of the film Coming to Africa. So I mentioned to you before we went on here, Anwar, I know the film is billed as a romantic comedy, and it is funny, and there's some romance in it. But I think literally from the beginning, you can tell this film is more than that. You're talking about ownership, right? You have individuals that are dealing with health issues, so you have that coming to the forefront. You have people dealing with issues on the job, another thing that people can relate to, and what it's like to kind of be the victim of someone else making decisions over your life. Did you know it was going to have those layers when you first began, or did that kind of evolve as the film evolved?
I knew it would have those layers at the beginning. I actually struggle with what to classify the film as, and I tend to start with something that either happens to me in real life or a situation that I've seen or a point that I want to make, and then the humor to evolve from that. So I knew I had these layers. I knew the message that I wanted to convey was very serious. That was always my intention, but there's something in me. I think there's a hidden stand-up comic somewhere deep in my body somewhere that just likes to get these jokes off. But I don't know, and, so I've tried to, there's certain things I've even tried to make serious. And when I get into it, I'm like, here I go again, finding the humor in the situation. So it actually started with a very serious objective. I knew I wanted to make a point about how we in the diaspora view Africa. I knew I wanted to speak to all those other things you mentioned and things that are so relevant today that, I started writing this years ago, and it's so timely now. When you talk about discrimination in the workplace, or you talk about some of these issues, we have debates amongst ourselves about what's important. As Black people, is it really important to spend money with each other in Black businesses, as most of us believe, or as others believe, hey, look, just go get financial success and all that and bring that, to your house, and you're doing your part. If everyone else just does their part, and goes and gets the best job they can and support their family and don't be criminals, then we'll be fine, right? You have people who say these things, so it turns into a debate. So I knew I wanted to address all those issues, but I didn't want it to be overly serious. So I always joke with people and say I wanted to make a movie that had the consciousness of Malcolm X, but you feel like you're watching House Party when you watch it. And I was just trying to strike a balance.
Well, I think you definitely do that, and I think that's why this film really has a little bit of something for everyone. I think also the other interesting thing that I was not expecting, Anwar, as the film evolved, that I thought was really interesting, your character, we see someone who is successful, but we also see that success is not just based on one thing. What was that like for you to show that you don't have to own your own business, but you can be successful in your own right, whether we're talking about personally, professionally, or just being okay with yourself? What was that like for you to show through your character?
I really wanted to show that because, again, that's the debate, and that debate is heating up more and more every day in our country because we're sitting here from the perspective of we often find ourselves in a position where we don't own the places that we work. We don't own the means of production, but there's this whole pie out here that we deserve a piece of, and we have so many bright people who've gone through. The thing just came up with the Wells Fargo CEO became public with him making a statement that he can't reach his diversity goals because there's not enough African-American talent to hire. It's like, come on, there's not enough Black people to hire. It's a ridiculous statement. So I did want to show that because there's not always one right or wrong answer. We as Black people need the spectrum. We need 360 degrees of this. We need people with Black businesses who own their own businesses and do this. But we also need people inside of these systems fighting for those positions, using their talent in these Fortune 500 companies and in these larger companies, representing us and being our voice in that room. So it's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer, but I do think people need to be clear about which is which, because they're not the same thing. And if you are in those buildings and if you are working in those positions, you are subjected to a different level of having to acquiesce to what this person might request of you, what this person might tell you to do. Your job can be taken from you. You can be, things can happen, but that's a separate fight. So I did want to show those two sides of the coin, and let's have that conversation in a film, because we had that conversation all the time in barbershops. We see it playing out in the entertainment industry all the time. So I wanted to speak to that.
Yeah. So and I think that again is a great thing too. And I think too, I want to mention this too, not to give away too much of the film, but I think I like the fact that these important conversations are having, like you just said, in barbershops, that, you don't have to be in a boardroom. The film opens up with I think being in a restaurant having these important conversations. I think so. It really shows that they are happening in every aspect of life, which is what makes it so important. So as I mentioned, it is right now an award-winning film coming to Africa. What are the plans moving forward, Anwar, with the film and getting it to our audience out there?
I have really big plans that I'm really close to being able to reveal, but just not yet. So, but I can give you the gist of it. It is November. Okay. So everyone, please go to comingtoafricamovie.com. Sign up for the latest information as it comes. There's one more festival screening. It's about to go public, but they want to make the big announcement themselves, and I'm respecting that. So I'll say there's one more festival that we're going to knock out. I have 3 special screenings planned in November, and then we're rolling it out worldwide streaming. So I can't get the exact dates, but I just want to say it's going to be big. I'm so excited, but I can say November. I can say November. Okay. Everybody can expect to see it. Whether it's in the theater nearest you at one of the special screenings or worldwide streaming, it will be coming. So everybody can look for that in November, and I'm just excited. So stay tuned for the specific dates. Follow me on Instagram at Anwar Jamison, and stay tuned. And Facebook, Anwar Jamison as well. And I'm excited about it, but we're going to roll it out in a special way.
All right, looking forward to that. Again, everyone, comingtoafricamovie.com is that website you heard Anwar mention. Want to thank our good friend Walisa Bennett for allowing us this opportunity to be able to speak with you, Anwar. Really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed the film, I have to say. A lot of great messages. We'll be writing our review for CyrusWebb.com because I think there's a lot for us to kind of look forward to there. And definitely, it goes without saying, man, you are welcome back here anytime. Looking forward to having you back again.
I'm looking forward to being back, and I'm looking forward to reading that review, too.
All right, man, definitely. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make the day amazing. Take care.